Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have been watching my channel long enough, you would know that I am a huge fan, or used to be, I should say, a huge fan of original Blizzard. Blizzard was my childhood for a very long time, and I think that was the case for a lot of people with the original Diablo game. Obviously, StarCraft was huge, and then also you have World of Warcraft changing the lives of a lot of people, especially back in those days. Now, we have another situation where it looks like get woke, go broke is absolutely a thing, because not only have they lost money on BlizzCon before, even when they were super well loved by fans and BlizzCon was like the event of the year, now apparently, according to Grums over on Twitter, BlizzCon was canceled because it continues to lose money even worse than it did before.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones,
got a phone.
right?
You can play on your tablet too.
Now, none of this should be very shocking, ladies and gentlemen, because ultimately we know that Activision Blizzard has completely alienated their true fans. World of Warcraft is nowhere near what it used to be, not just from overall fatigue for the game, but the changes they made to the game were not liked by many, and they started to lose player base more and more, especially to games like Final Fantasy XIV, which I myself play as well. Now, BlizzCon, I remember a time where BlizzCon, you couldn't get a ticket. It was very difficult to get one. It would sell out almost immediately the moment it went live to buy a ticket. I remember it being that popular. It was that much of a go-to event. And if they were losing money back then, you got to imagine how much money they would probably lose now. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. And of course, like I mentioned in my other videos, unfortunately, I'm still pretty sick filming this video, so I apologize if I sound worse than I normally do. It says former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern believes that Microsoft and Blizzard Entertainment canceled BlizzCon because the convention is losing the company money. Blizzard Entertainment announced that BlizzCon 2024 had been canceled in a blog post on April 25th. Let me say something really quick before we continue. So, a lot of these conventions, especially gaming conventions, have been getting canceled for the last few years. Okay, like we see a lot of developers, a lot of companies pulling out of gaming conventions. They're pulling out of physical conventions, and they're choosing to go the digital route, right? Like they're choosing to do digital presentations because it's a hell of a lot fucking cheaper to do it, and they can still get the ultimate message across, which is to announce games, showcase gameplay, whatever. Like that's what it's about. Now, again, it proves that this whole thing has become corporatized, right? It's so down to the penny that they are willing to not even give fans something to be excited about anymore, something to be excited to go to anymore. They're willing to take that away if it saves them money, because ultimately, like I said before, all they care about is announcing games, getting the hype up and whatnot. They don't care about you actually having any memories going to BlizzCon. They don't care about actually putting on any physical presentation that's worthy of someone remembering it for the rest of their life. They don't care about that. They only care about minimizing costs, maximizing profit. I mean, that's really what it's about, right? And ultimately, you can't get mad because it's a company, right? A company is expected to do that. I would rather they be honest about it versus virtue signaling about a potential cause that we know they don't care about. It says in a blog post, the company shared, after careful consideration over the last year, we at Blizzard have made the decision not to hold BlizzCon in 2024. This decision was not made lightly, as BlizzCon remains a very special event for all of us, and we know many of you look forward to it. Apparently not. Apparently not. Again, you could say it's special all you want, but we know why you're canceling it, okay? You obviously believe that you're not going to get a turnout that's worthy of you hosting it in the first place. You think you're probably going to lose money on it. You most likely will lose money on it. And if you do try to cheap out on it, people are going to call you out for that too. So you're kind of in a catch-22. You're just better off canceling it and just admitting that you're moving on. It says, while we're approaching this year differently and we have explored different event formats in the past, rest assured that we are just as excited ever to bring BlizzCon back in future years, the company added. I don't think it's coming back. I don't think it's coming back. And if it comes back, it's going to come back in such a weak state that not many people are going to want to go, right? And if you get people used to not going to BlizzCon, that's the thing. If you get people used to it, to not want to go to BlizzCon because you're canceling it this year, let's say you cancel it next year, even if you brought it back in like 2026 or something like that, not many people are going to go compared to how it was before when it became a yearly thing, right? People were excited to go to BlizzCon, and unfortunately, the love for the company Blizzard has faltered so much over the last like 10 years, ever since Activision Blizzard took them over. It really just is not the same company anymore. It's not a company that's based in passion like it used to be. It's a company that's all for profits. And listen, that's fine. Like I said, a company is going to be a company, right? You can't get mad at a corporation doing what corporations do, but what you used to be versus what you are now, we can absolutely absolutely call that out and say, hey, you're nowhere near the same. You are not the same people, not the same company. I can't really support that anymore. It says, as you can see above, the company did not provide an explanation for why the event was canceled. They never will. However, Mark Kern speculates it's because the event was not making the company any money, and the company's new owner, Microsoft, needs every part of his business to make money. On X, Kern posted, Blizzcon does not turn a profit. In fact, we lost money on it every year. Blizzard saves a lot by canceling it, especially when customer sentiment is so low and there is nothing to announce. Microsoft is cost-cutting because AAA is in a bad shape. That's basically it. This comment right here, this paragraph from Grooms over on Twitter, this is exactly what this is, ladies and gentlemen. It's as simple as that. Like, everybody can come up with conspiracies over what it could potentially be. Ultimately, this is it. AAA is in a bad shape. There's really nothing to announce from Activision Blizzard that's going to make them want to, actually host a massive event like BlizzCon. And ultimately, people just are not into the company like that. Not like how they used to be. At least not in a super fan sense, right? Like, you have fans of Microsoft, obviously. You have fans of Blizzard still, obviously. But in terms of like super fans to fill a massive event like that, I really don't think they have that anymore. He elaborated on this in an interview with Andrew Chapados on his Unauthorized Opinions channel, along with myself. Kern stated that the other thing that's happening is even Microsoft's affected. Microsoft and Blizzard canceled BlizzCon this year. That's unheard of, and BlizzCon never made money, and it's an extremely expensive show to produce. When I was there, we didn't make money on BlizzCon at all, and it was always a huge expense. But you did it because it was a huge marketing event for the game and for the company. Exactly. That's what it's for. It's trying to get your games out there, right? Like, it's about drumming up hype, getting that reaction, showcasing that reaction online. Like, you guys remember whenever a new WoW expansion would be announced back during its prime at BlizzCon, how huge that was, how massive that was, when people would cheer, the fans would go crazy. And then you would end up, like, if you weren't there, you would end up seeing videos of the fans just exploding and going crazy over a new expansion announcement, and everybody was diving into the information and trying to find out any little thing they could. Yeah, you don't have that anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. It's unfortunate, but it's true. That kind of hype is very few and far between now with modern day AAA video games or even MMOs like World of Warcraft. It's just not there anymore. It's sad. I remember those days, but those days are gone. It says, and so BlizzCon is canceled now, and that Microsoft is stepping in and saying, hey, no, we can't lose money. Everything has to make money. And this is the current mentality in AAA games, he asserted. The current financial reality that they are facing. So, listen, hey, you get woke, you go broke, right? Microsoft put themselves in the position they're in. They are not a player when it comes to consoles, right? We already know that they have lost 2 console wars in a row now, the second one being the worst one of all, I would imagine. And unfortunately, it looks like they're just going to end up stepping away from the console war. They might end up making one more next-gen console, but I don't really see them going the long term. You know what I mean? Sony and Nintendo pretty much have been battling out in terms of sales and whatnot. I think Nintendo definitely has the more hardcore audience, I would imagine. Definitely more dedicated audience, whereas PlayStation has the more normie audience. You know, people want a PS5 just to say they have a PS5, and there's a lot more games that are on the PS5 than on Nintendo. So, you know, it depends on who you're trying to advocate for, but Microsoft really doesn't have a place anywhere. You know, a lot of their original games that was specific to Microsoft, not a lot of people talk about them anymore. You know, Halo was a huge IP that unfortunately has died off, and it's nowhere near what it was in its prime, not even close, and it's kind of sad. So we'll see what ends up happening ultimately, but it looks like BlizzCon is canceled. You can blame it for whatever reason you want, but you can't ignore the fact that when you get woke, you absolutely do seem to get broke. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.